Larry Newber in the Southwest for grassroots dirt track racing. Larry?
Bob, sprint cars were in Texas and Oklahoma this past weekend, and for the first time since USA came on board, they were face-to-face in the same neck of the woods with the World of Outlaws.
The spirit of Texas has always been unique, so much so the quest for freedom almost made this territory its own country. The struggles for independence here scar the pages of history, like the most famous battle of Texas or the Alamo. But the 1989 battle for the Lone Star State was fought in the trenches of dirt ovals last week. The traditional ruling monarchy of sprint car racing, the World of Outlaws, dug in near Houston.
Competition's real tough. I mean, they're missing a couple of the big names they've had over the last few years, but you throw out those 3 or 4 guys, they got the rank and file. It's a lot tougher here than it is in the USA deal.
With Sammy Swindell and Steve Kinzer supporting USA exclusively, Bobby Davis Jr. and Brent Kading have become the leading outlaw warriors. The combat was tame at Houston, as first Davis on Friday and then Kading on Saturday picked up wins. From the historic viewpoint, the new circuit, USA, is revolutionary. Their weekend base camp was 250 miles north in the Doubled Bowl near Dallas. If crowd count is any indication, the weekend decided nothing. Both groups had enough people to support their own defense funds. USA has the allegiance of the most decorated sprint hero, Steve Kinzer, but he has not been winning battles lately. Friday night, though, he started on the outside pole. With Doug Wolfgang, Kelly Kinzer, and local Eddie Gallagher 3 abreast, Steve won. Finally. Yeah, it was just a preliminary main, but his losing streak has even stolen headlines from the 2 sparring groups at times. Rain stopped the USA march Saturday. Cancellation often means an unexpected night off with wife Dana and the family for Steve. Usually they spend the night in their permanent home for the season, the motorhome. And that's where we talked to him about his unusual 5 months with no wins.
Steve, you know there are those who will say that you have been moving over intentionally to make it easier for others to be competitive for the overall benefit of USA.
No, I would never do anything like that. I'm a race driver, and that, you know, my job is to go out and win, and no matter what kind of situation that comes up on me, as when I strap in a race car and the race has started, I think about one thing is winning the race and doing whatever I can to win it. And I would never be in that situation. It's just any type of race driver knows that they want to win, and it really doesn't matter. That's the bottom line, and that will not ever happen, and never has happened.
Although the drought has lasted 5 months, that only spans 10 races.
Sunday was an exclusive World of Outlaw event day in nearby Oklahoma City. Now, geography allowed it. The big question was, would any of the USA stars make the 3-hour drive north to compete with the World of Outlaws?
The wintry weather certainly could have been used as an excuse for boycotting this race, but nearly 4,000 showed, and even 4 USA regulars raced, among them Wolfgang. Although Racing USA, from the beginning, he has said on open dates, I'm going to race where the best purses are. Points leader Brent Kading's day ended without honor, but not as violently as the 2 number 23s of Rocky Hodges and Greg Woolley. Wolfie, meanwhile, started at the back. After Davis and Hillenberg traded the point, the Wolf tracked down leader Davis. But Bobby never surrendered, and the 2 circuit point leaders settled their private version of this sprint car war. And as for the major conflict, well, it's best described as a Mexican standoff, and only the first shots have been fired.
Davis's car is unique in that it's powered by a Ford engine. This is the first time in World of Outlaw history that an engine other than a Chevrolet has led the point standings. Now, before the weekend started, USA's Vice President of Business Operations, Gary Carley, was terminated, making him the second VP fired in the past 6 months. The USAC Silver Crown dirt cars will return to the California State Fairgrounds in Sacramento for the first time in 19 years on June 4th. Their last appearance there is the subject of this week's Dick Wallen Racing Classic. Here's auto racing historian Donald Davidson.
It's the Golden State 100 at Sacramento in 1970, when the dirt track 100-miler still count towards the USAC national title. That's Mario Andretti setting the fastest qualifying time with a Gurney Westlake-powered machine. Hey, it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it, right, Mario? The 18 fastest qualifiers line up for what will be the last champ race ever at the old California State Fairgrounds. Into the lead from the outside of the front row goes Bobby Unser in number 16. But pole sitter Mario is back to challenge within seconds. It only takes a half a mile down the backstretch, and Mario regains the lead going into turn 3. But hold on, lightning is about to strike. That's Johnny Lightning. Here comes Al Unser from 4th starting position, down the inside on the main straightaway, and the 1969 and 70 Indy 500 winners head side by side through turn 1. Al prevails. It's only lap 2, and the race already has its 3rd leader. Al has been undefeated in the Champ Dirt races this year, and he's not about to let this one get away. Johnny Rutherford loses an engine, spins, and Mario Andretti has nowhere to go as they both clobber the rail. It's been quite a weekend for Al. He won the 300-miler on the pavement at Trenton just the day before. Even J.C. Agajanian helps Al celebrate his 10th championship race win of the year.
Coming up on the Speed Week calendar this Sunday at what? Leader Schrader. In 3rd within striking distance is Hare, followed by teammate Mike Shasuli and Finland's Robert Lapalainen. Although they've been struggling at times this year, the USA Sprint Car Organization drew a huge crowd Tuesday night at Knoxville, Iowa. And they treated their fans to something a little bit different. 4 3-lap match races involving Steve Kinser, Sammy Swindell, and Doug Wolfgang. Now, the first driver to win 2 would be the overall winner and collect $5,000. But Wolfgang, one of the hottest sprint car drivers in the country right now, wasn't real thrilled with the added attraction.
I'm not here to match race. I'm here to feature race. I don't know if I'm that good at match racing.
Now, with the race's only 3 laps, the draw for the 3 abreast starting positions would be a key factor.
I'm in the middle. He's in the middle. How the hell did I do that?
Well, the first race was won by Wolfgang, the second by Swindell, and the third by Kinser, and all had started from the inside. So it comes down to the 4th event. The first 2 attempts to start it were waved off. Steve and Sammy, you forgot to wait on Doug. After all, he is the pole sitter. On the real start, Wolfie grabs the lead and held it for all 3 laps with only a brief challenge from Kinser. Now, in that feature that Wolfgang said he was really here for, well, he won it too, leading all 30 laps and beating Swindell. The best battle for position was between the Kinsers, Steve and Mark for 3rd. Mark prevailed. Those sprint cars use huge overhead wings for downforce, which makes the cars stick to the racing surface. Well, Kenny Bernstein discusses other ways in which downforces in recent Formula One history occurred during qualifying. Martin Donnelly's Lotus crashed head-on into a guardrail at 160 miles an hour, cutting the car in half and throwing Donnelly to the middle of the track, still strapped to the seat. Track officials and observers feared the worst, but remarkably, Martin survived the crash, although he did suffer 2 broken legs, a broken collarbone, nose, left cheekbone, a fractured skull, and a punctured lung. With me here in our run last Sunday at Eldora Speedway in Ohio. 4 different divisions competing, 1 championship to be decided. Many that came still remembered the days when A.J. Foyt ran a sprint car at this track and were wishing him a speedy recovery from those injuries suffered a week previous at Elkhart Lake. Jeff Gordon was one driver doing double duty today, competing in both the sprint and midget race. Gordon started 4th in the midgets, took the lead on the first lap, and held it until falling out with a broken piston 6 laps in. Attrition was high due to mechanical problems. Johnny Heidenreich was finished after hitting the first turn wall. Wally Pankratz took the checkered flag first ahead of Stan Fox, but Wally's fuel was found to be illegal in a post-race inspection, giving Fox, who used to drive one of AJ's Indy cars, the win.
AJ, hang in there, and, I can run road races, too. You don't need one of them fancy-dancy road racer guys in that car. You can hire an American and put him in.
By the time the sprint car race rolled around, the track was hard, slick, and very dusty. Lack of a cushion sent many drivers up to the wall, some a little too close. After Rick Howerton flipped, Greg Staub took this wild ride. He was taken to a local hospital for observation. Then 3 laps from the end, the black car of Jeff Gordon touched wheels with Robbie Stanley, bumped the wall, and then began a series of rollovers. Once the dust settled, Jeff got out okay, though a little disappointed. Hometown favorite Jack Hewitt went on to take the win. In the Silver Crown race, points leader Jimmy Sills was on the pole within sight of his first championship. Eric Gordon, second in points, was the only other driver with a shot at the title. Trouble for Sills before the green came out. He was turned sideways by Hewitt and then center punched by Trey House. This could have been the break that Gordon needed. Once the race began, it was a Hewitt-Steve Butler show. Steve in red moved low in turn 4 to take the lead from Jack, and Steve went on to win his first ever Champ Dirt race. Gordon, meanwhile, needed only a 4th place finish or better to win the championship, but had trouble with a hard and slick track and could manage only a 7th.
Early in the race, I kept hitting the wall down turn 4, and I bent everything up on the back of the car, and we just stayed put after that and didn't gain enough ground to win it.
Sills, who was able to rejoin the race, even though he didn't have any brakes, torsion bar, or shock absorber, joined the ranks of such drivers as Foyt, Al Unser, and Mario Andretti in winning the Silver Crown title.
This is a thrill, and now that it's over, maybe I can sleep at night.
Donnie Moran won the late model portion of the 4 Crowns. And sorry, Stan.